Welcome to the 1430 ESPN Outdoors Report, presented by All Out Marine in Allenton.
Let's get things going on the ESPN Outdoors Report as we bring in Pete Hupp from Best Dam Guiding Service. Pete, what's the week been like for you? Obviously, Mother Nature, as we talk on this first day of spring, kind of didn't want to give up winter quite yet, but just what have you been up to?
Well, I checked out the Madison chain here earlier in the week. Got out there in some deeper water where the fish usually are, and there was good numbers of them, but they were kind of picky. They'd come up and look at your bait and go back down, but we caught some, but they were still a little bit finicky yet. The water was at 43 and 44 degrees there, so our next little warm spell, I think, would help to get those fish going.
Excellent. And once those fish get going, you think hopefully we can get consistent temperatures and then the fishing becomes more consistent?
Yeah, definitely the consistent temperatures would be helpful, and it'd be nice to have a little less wind. It seems like every day it's just windy. Those calm days when it's sunny out, that water grabs that heat better and then warms up, and that top part of the water column is always warming up a little quicker then. Other than that, yeah, the bridges here on Beaver Dam, they were producing some crappies when we had that warm spell. But that's kind of tapered off. I see a lot of people were below the dam too. I heard they were getting some walleyes down there and crappies. So locally, yeah, there was a pretty decent bite.
Do many people fish above a dam? I know we always talk about below the dam, and you get going. Do people fish above the dam, or can that get tricky?
Yeah, Beaver Dam's a good example that people would fish above the dam. I remember there were a couple years ago they were getting perched pretty good above the dam. But yeah, it can be good because the fish got to come past there to, and if there's flow, they'll eventually be below it. But yeah, you can intercept them above the dam.
Sure. Anything else going on in the world of outdoors and fishing you think people need to be having their radar here as we creep our way towards that first week of May?
I know some guys have been going up to the Wisconsin River in the Dells. A lot of short fish, but there were some legal fish and slot fish being caught. That 20 to 28 inches you got to throw back. I know a guy that was up there and he had like 20 slot fish the other day. So they're fun to catch, but you got to throw them back. And legal size there is 15 to 20 inches.
Sure. I know you don't want to give up all your secrets, but do you personally have a favorite river that you like to fish?
I always like the Fox River in Puckaway. It's not as good as it used to be, but that's kind of one of my favorites. It's not usually too crowded with people, and on a right day, you can have a lot of luck there.
Well, if people want to have a lot of luck fishing, they can check in with you at Best Dam Guiding Service. Obviously, you're probably booking trips all the way through the fall, I would assume. What do they need to know? Tell us about what happens if they book a trip with you.
All you need is your fishing license, and you bring your beverage and snacks, and I provide everything else possibly needed. I'll take you out for whatever species you prefer to go for. And if you'd like to get out, you can call me at 608-609-2707 or send me a message on Facebook under Pete Hupp for Best Dam Guide Service.
Well, Pete, I appreciate all you do. And again, hopefully Mother Nature can warm up the weather a little bit so it makes it more enjoyable. The diehards will still come out, right, as long as it's not too cold, but you want to make it enjoyable for everybody.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, have yourself a great day, Pete. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Wade. Have a good day.
Let's stop over at DNS Bait and Tackle in the Madison chain right now and bring in Pat. Pat, I guess big news is people are on the rivers here this past week, even with kind of the sketchy weather.
Absolutely, yeah. The rivers are open. The walleyes are swimming upstream and getting ready to spawn. So that's been what most of the traffic that comes through the shop here is folks heading up to the Wisconsin River or down to the Rock River. And at all the dams, the walleyes are pretty much stacked up there. A lot of smaller males, but I am starting to hear about some larger females coming in. So that's a sure sign of spring.
Hey, where on the Wisconsin River and where on the Rock River do most of the people put their boats in, or where do they have the most success?
Well, anywhere below dams. So the walleyes just kind of stack up because they can't pass through the dams. So they will hold in areas, typically little deeper areas below dams. And usually at all dams, there's a boat launch nearby. I know, up at Sauk City here, the VFW is the closest launch to that dam. And people can get up and down there pretty pretty easily. The water has been a little low, so I've heard some complaints about that. But otherwise, the fishing's been great.
Sure, you mentioned that the lakes are all open at this point here where the ice is gone?
That's right, yeah. The Lake Mendota, our largest lake, opened, I think it was Tuesday officially this last week. So, yeah, folks can launch boats around town, and we do have early bass fishing, catch and release only, but that's a big deal when the weather's nicer. And the panfish action's been great in a lot of shallow areas around town, too.
All right, so lots of good stuff going on there. And obviously, if people are going fishing here, you got to stop the D&S Bait and Tackle. Tell us about where you're located, what you have in the shop, and what they need to know.
Yeah, sure. We're at 1411 Northport Drive, right at the corner of Northport and Troy Drive, just a quarter mile from the Warner Park Boat Launch and a short jog off the interstate if you're coming into town. We've got everything everybody needs to get out on the water. We're getting our spring stuff up as we speak. So that's an exciting time of year, and if anybody wants to learn more about what's going on around town, we do a weekly fishing report. We update that every Friday morning, post to our social media at DS Bait Tackle Fly Shop, and that's on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And we also have the good old-fashioned phone line. You can call in to 608-BIG-FISH and listen to me talk about the fishing around town.
Pat, I appreciate all you do for us, and have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too, Wade. Just take care.
Let's turn our attention to Fox Lake and fishtails right now and bring in Dave. And Dave, you're telling me not a whole lot going on the way Mother Nature's been messing with us here with the weather, has it?
No, I mean, the people that traditionally shore fish around this area, and there's a few spots that are pretty popular or whatever, it just hasn't been happening yet. It's been too cold in the mornings, and what we had last night with all the snow and everything, it just cools the water down to where, nothing's happening really unless you're in a boat on a river somewhere. It's going to take a while for it to warm up and be decent. So now is the time of year when you really want to start working on your fishing gear for open water and change your line, clean your tackle boxes up, get your boat ready, that kind of thing, because that's about all you can do right now.
Do you have people that stop into fishtails that'll swap out their baits and such every year? They have their steadfast that they love, but will there be people that'll get a bunch of new stuff every year to kick off the season?
Well, everybody shops different, but I change the line on all my rod and reels every year. There's always new lures out every year that kind of catch fishermen more than fish, but there's our regular customers are very loyal. They come in and they get what they need every year and support us. But we're putting all our stuff up right now, and we're almost complete. But yeah, you can come in and see some of the new stuff going on and get some new line, whatever you need. We're going to have it. So it's just one of them times of years where it's in transition, and it's really difficult to even try to fish.
Have you had anybody talk to anybody who's tried to any other lakes in the region or any of the rivers and what they've been getting?
Well, I mean, a lot of guys coming through are buying minnows, and they're going to the Wisconsin River or even Mississippi River. They're getting some walleyes below the dam and Beaver Dam, but that's slowed kind of, in the last week or so. But river fishing for walleyes is kind of the only thing you can do right now. The shore fishing, like I said, on really warm days, and we had 70 degrees a week or two ago, the panfish bit on the shorelines all around. But, now it's cooled down, and every morning this coming week it's going to be in the 20s. So, it's all about water temp this time of the year. It's got to warm up. So the fishing will warm up with the temperatures.
Well, the action's always hot inside of fishtails solving the world's problems. Tell us about where you're located, what they'll find in the store, and when you're open.
Well, that's true, because we do solve all the world's problems.
Yes, you do.
But we're right downtown Fox Lake by the river, and we're open 6 to 6 Monday through Saturday and 6 to 5 on Sunday.
Dave, I appreciate your help, and we'll chat next week.
All right. Thanks, Wade.
All Out Marine are your experts and local carriers of Tracker, Tahoe, Nitro, Sun Tracker, Regency brand boats, and Maker Center console boats wants you to stop in to see their new and used inventory. Order your 2025 models now. From pleasure boats to fishing boats, All Out Marine has the boat for you. Check them out online at alloutmarinellc.com. Visit them on the northwest corner of Highway 41 and D in Allenton. All Out Marine is your family-owned, independent, authorized Nitro, Sun Tracker, Tahoe, and Mako dealer.
The ESPN Outdoors Report continues now as we're going to bring in our resident outdoorsman, Rick Wetland, who's kind of in no man's land here. Ma Nature's not giving us any good weather to get out on the waters. Rick, it's too cold to be in your garage to paint some lures. What has a guy like you been up to?
Well, that's the problem. The weather has been terrible. So basically this week we put in a new locator on my boat, which is a Live Scope by Garmin. And for those that don't know what Live Scope is, I mean, it's been all over the news and the reports, and everybody's talking about Live Scope. But basically, your units and locators you've had in your boat forever, they shine right below your boat. They'll tell you exactly what's below your boat. Well, with Live Scope, it shoots out to the front and tells you where the fish are in front of you, tells you where the brush piles are in front of you, tells you where the rock piles are in front of you, and you can actually. And it's actually called Live Scope for a reason, because you can actually see the fish swimming around in the moment right now. And a lot of guys, that do professionally are really good live scopers. I mean, they can actually tell if that fish is a walleye or a bass or a crappie or whatever.
Wow.
And it's quite the machine. There's a lot of controversy in it. A lot of people think Live Scope is cheating a lot of ways because it tells you exactly where the fish are, what depth they are, if they're hanging on the right side of the stump or the left side of the stump. And it's quite the thing. I mean, I had one on my old boat, to be honest, a couple of years ago, and the technology is 1,000-fold from what the first ones came out. But, to me, I've always kind of been against them because, you spend so much time looking at your locator and not actually fishing. In my old boat, I had hours of just staring at my screen instead of throwing 1,000 casts. And I didn't like that, but the problem is when you get in the tournament world, there's so many guys that have them. And last year I really noticed I got beat a lot of tournaments because of it. So I joined the old Live Scoping group this year.
There's some tournaments that outlaw that kind of things. They want to do it the old fashioned way.
Actually, I mean, there are three major tournament brands. I mean, there's Bass, there's MLF, and there's NFPL. The NFPL is actually banned Live Scope. The MLF, actually, you have 3 periods a day. You can only use it 1 period a day. And Bass has limited the amount of transducers and the amount of locators you can have, but you can use it all the time.
An experienced fisherman like you, can you sometimes get a feel for, by the tug on your line, what kind of fish you have on the line if you're fishing an area you're familiar with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so many times, I'll use Fox Lake, for example, you get a bite, you set the hook and it takes off 15 feet. Right away you got a pike. Bass will usually come to the top. Walleye, a lot of times when you're reeling it in, you'll get a big head shake from a walleye and it's a walleye. I mean, I'm not talking like a 10, 12 incher, but I mean, if you get a 20 plus inch walleye, they're known for their head shakes and almost instantly that you have a walleye on.
Did you ever catch something you thought you had a big fish and it turned out to be like a tire or like a hose or something?
Well, it's funny. Last year right out here, I was throwing crankbaits and out on Fox Lake and I had a bite where I thought was a bite. I set the hook and it was pulling, and it just wouldn't come up. And I thought for sure I snagged a carp. I ended up catching a solid rock the size of a softball. And I was reeling it. My partner had the net out, and the whole deal. And yeah, we get it to the top and here it's this big ass rock the size of a softball. And yeah, funny. But it pulled like hell, let me tell you.
Well, it's a great workout for you, at least. You mentioned fishing hasn't been great because of the weather, but a lot of people are, changing out and adding some stuff to their collections and their box and such. Obviously, Raw Bass Customs. If you want to catch some stuff this summer, you need to have a full allotment of your lures. Tell us about them.
Well, actually, I paint over 65 different kind of blanks in every area bait shop now has the 2025 new collection, new colors, new blanks. I mean, Dick Smith's down in Pewaukee, Stu's in Partyville, M&M Tackle in Portage, and of course Fishtails here in Fox Lake. They got all new lures now, so if you're looking, this winter or this weekend when the weather's still kind of crappy and you want to go do some shopping, they got all my new lures on the shelf as we speak.
And if somebody's looking at booking a bass trip, a guiding trip, you can help them out?
Sure, absolutely. We're still taking bookings for the summer. You can call my cell phone at 920-948-8467, and I supply everything but food and drink.
All right, what's that phone number again?
920-948-8467.
Rick, I appreciate all you do, and good luck whatever you find to pass the time this weekend.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks for listening to the ESPN Outdoors Report presented by All Out Marine in Allenton. Catch the ESPN Outdoors Report 3 times every week on 95.3 WBEV at 4:35 p.m. on Fridays, as well as Saturday and Sunday mornings at 6:35 a.m. Hear the ESPN Outdoors Report every Friday at 12:40 p.m. on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and on demand on the Sports tab at dailydodge.com.